Hi everyone, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to be making a video that's been requested over and over again. It's a classic, Greek dish, SPANAKOPITA, also known as spinach pie. It's delicious, it's easy. This is not the appetizer kind, this is the full entree version, and it's delicious. It's honestly the best SPANAKOPITA that I've ever had, and I've had so many. It's my mom's recipe, it's juicy, it's fresh tasting, it's delicious. And that's all because I do not cook the filling before I bake it. Everything is just chopped up and put up in one bowl, mixed up together, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through the video. Give it a try. It's super delicious and fresh tasting. Let's go over the ingredients and then we're gonna get started. Well, first we need a lot of spinach. This is baby spinach, a whole pound of it that I've chopped up a little finer. We're gonna need some eggs, salt, olive oil, really high quality ricotta cheese. Get the whole milk kind, not skim or low fat or anything like that. I have a recipe on this that I'll post in the description box because it's easy to make anyway. You need some really good feta cheese, a lot of it. This is a pound. And then we need some pepper, some chopped up and washed scallions, dill, and a pound of phyllo dough. That's all. Now dill. I'm using dry dill because I really couldn't find any good fresh dill in my supermarket. Dry dill is really flavorful, so you can definitely substitute it. But if you do have fresh dill growing in your backyard, or if it's easy to find and it's really fresh from the supermarket, go ahead and use that. You're going to need about 2 bunches of it for this recipe. Now, let me get some stuff out of the way. And it's super simple. All you have to do when you get, I like to buy the spinach that's baby spinach and that's already washed and ready to go. And all you do is just you chop it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be finely chopped. Just coarse is fine. Just like that. Now we're just going to put everything in our bowl. Alright, so to your spinach, you want to make sure you add your ricotta cheese and crumble up your feta cheese. This is a sheep's milk feta, which is much milder than a regular feta, but you can go ahead if you want to and use the more inexpensive cow feta that's found at the supermarket. Just don't buy the crumbles, crumble it up yourself. It's really so simple. If you want to get rid of some of that excess salt taste, you could rinse this with some warm water before you use it and make sure you dry it afterwards. We add the chopped up scallions. Make sure you wash them properly and you dry them, and you chop them up really, really finely like this. Now to this, I'm going to add a whole teaspoon of black pepper. You can put as much or as little as you like. And then I'll put 3 heaping teaspoons of dry dill. And I'll start off with just a ½ teaspoon of salt, and I'll taste it and see if it needs any more. Else it'll all depend on how salty the feta cheese is. And then to this, I'm going to add a cup of olive oil. And that's going to add more moisture and make it really nice. Now, the best way to mix this is with your hands. Make sure your hands are nice and clean. And don't add the eggs yet at this point, because once it's done, all combined and mixed, you're going to taste it and see if it needs more salt. And it's, I don't know. If you use really high quality eggs, you shouldn't have a problem with salmonella or anything like that, but just to be safe, taste it before you add the eggs. Okay, once it's like this, all well combined, and really it just comes together after 2-3 minutes of mixing with your hands. Trust me, there's no better way to do this. I've tried it many different ways. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a little taste. To me, that's perfect. I wouldn't add any more salt, but if you wanted a little bit saltier, that would be fine. Give your eggs a little whisk with a fork, and then add them to here and give it another whisk, mixing with your hands, and then that's it. The filling is ready, just like that. That's simple. This is what the filling should look like once it's done. I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're just going to fill it in the phyllo dough, and it'll be ready. So you want to make sure that your phyllo dough has come to room temperature, and the best way to do that is to leave it in your refrigerator overnight, because it's usually sold in the freezer section. And then a couple hours before you're ready to make this, just take it out and leave it on your kitchen counter and let it stay at room temperature, sealed in its packaging. Don't unpackage it until you're right at this point ready to use it. So what you do, you want to have a half sheet baking tray. Okay, take some of your olive oil. Now you're going to need another about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of olive oil. And using your hands or a brush if you want to, just rub olive oil all over this so that way it's easy to cut it and put it in your plate later on. So I just put 3 sheets on the bottom after I oiled it. And now you want to take just a couple of sheets at a time. You want to take 2 sheets at a time and just border to the edge of the tray. So 2 sheets all around. And while you're doing that, you want to keep drizzling olive oil just with your hands all around like that. Just like that. Save the rest for the top of it. Now we're going to put the filling in the center. And just spread it out evenly. Just like that. And now just cover this. With your phyllo dough. Put some more olive oil. And now you're going to take 2 sheets at a time. You're just going to cover the top and tuck it under. And do the same thing again with the olive oil. It's kind of like you're making a pretty package. And now here's a nice trick that I've learned so you can create a nice airy top. You're just going to take 1 sheet at a time and you're just going to roughly fold it up on top, sprinkling oil over each layer. It doesn't matter if they tear up because you're just crumbling them up like this and just forming a nice crisp top. I think I have 2-3 sheets left. I'm going to finish this up and fill in all the gaps. Now you're going to see when this is ready, you're going to see why I did this once we're done baking it. At this point I want to take the rest of this olive oil and just drizzle it all over the top and the sides. And this is going to make this bake up to be golden and crispy and beautiful. Now what you want to do is take a really sharp knife and cut this into the squares. So you're going to, or squares or triangles. I'm going to cut the top portion into 4 pieces, 4 long sections all the way down. You can take out a ruler if you want to, but really that's totally unnecessary. This is a nice rustic, beautiful dish. Just try to make it as even as possible. And you want to go all the way down. You have 4 sections on the long side, and then you're going to cut this more shorter side into 3 sections. And that's going to give you 12 beautiful big pieces. If you wanted to cut this into smaller pieces, go right ahead, cut it into as big or as small of a serving size as you want. But once this is baked, these are going to be your serving sizes, so keep that in mind. And we're going all the way through so that way this cooks beautifully and evenly, and then it's going to be very easy to take this out of the pan later on. That's it. That's what it looks like. Alright, that's it. This is ready to go in the oven. It's important that you preheat your oven to 450 degrees, and then right when it's ready to go in, you reduce the temperature to 350 degrees and let this cook for an hour. After the hour is done, it's going to be completely golden and brown and crispy on the top. Once you take it out of the oven after an hour, let it cool for at least 20 minutes. It's best to let this cool so that way all the juices set and the filling also sets a little bit, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like as soon as it's ready. I'm going to go put this in my oven right now. Alright, so the spanakopita was cooking for exactly an hour, and then I took it out and I allowed it to sit at room temperature for 25 minutes. And look at how beautiful it is. It's golden, brown. You see all these ripples of the phyllo. It's going to be nice and light and airy and crispy and exactly the way it's supposed to taste. Super, super good like this. Now you want to just take your knife and go down and just cut through all the areas that you scored before. And see, doing this ahead of time makes it so much easier to cut. If you don't do this before you bake the pie, all the phyllo will just crumble and fall apart. You'll have a big, huge mess. So make sure you don't skip that step before baking. Now, let me take out a piece and show you what it looks like. The first piece is always for the chef, so let me take one out. Look at that. Look at how beautiful, how juicy it is on the inside. It's not at all dried or black or whatever from overcooking spinach. It cooked perfectly. I'm gonna put it in my plate. See how moist it is? It's just perfect. Let's cut into it and let me show you what it looks like. You hear that crisp? Perfecto. This, my friends, is the best spanakopita that I have ever tasted. Make sure that you make it so you can experience the goodness. Look at that. It's moist. It's just so good. I'm gonna have this piece. This is perfect. You can again cut it to smaller pieces if you wanted to feed a bigger crowd or maybe serve it as an appetizer, but this is filling. It's really healthy, it's delicious to eat as a main entree with maybe like a nice salad or something like that. Have a nice vegetarian meal. Perfect. It's really good also if you wanted to put this all together before you bake it. Wrap it up airtight in plastic and make an extra tray and freeze it for whenever maybe whenever you don't have time to cook or something like that. It stays fresh in the freezer for up to a month, maybe even more. I'm gonna post the recipe for this and the link in the description box down below. Make it, share pictures with me. Please let me know how you like it. I know you're gonna love it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye everyone.